Hi guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a GRE tunnel, a site-to-site VPN between two MIKROTIK routers. So to start the process, we're first going to download the OVA file, the Cloud Hosted Router OVA file. So go to mikrotik.com, and when you get to the website, click on the software tab and then scroll down, and then you need to expand the Cloud Hosted Router section, and then you need to download the OVA template file for the 7.3.1 stable version. Okay, so I'm just checking here to see if the download has started. And then the next thing is you need to then import this, use this OVA file to import two virtual machines. So right click on the OVA file and then click on Open with VirtualBox. So once VirtualBox opens up, you'll see an appliance import window. You just need to click on Import and you'll see a newly imported virtual machine. Right click on the VM and click on Settings. And then click on the first thing is to change the name of the VM. So I'm actually going to name this virtual machine MIKROTIK JOBURG. And then click on the Network tab and then set the adapter 1 to host only adapt. Click on Advanced and then set the promiscuous mode option to allow all. Click on the adapter 2 and then set it to internal network. You actually need to enable it first and then set the promiscuous mode to allow all. Once you've done that, the next thing is to import a second virtual machine. So right click on the OVA file and then click on Open with VirtualBox. You'll see another import window where you just need to click on Import and you'll see a second virtual machine imported into VirtualBox. Right click on the newly imported VM and then click on Settings. Click on actually you need to click on the Network tab and then set adapter 1 to host only adapt. Click on adapter 2, enable the adapter, and then set it to internal network. You also need to make sure that you set the promiscuous mode on each adapter to allow all. So actually the other thing that you actually need to do is to change the name of this second router. So we're actually going to name it MIKROTIK CAPETOWN. Okay. So we've actually named it MIKROTIK CAPETOWN, and then there you have it. Okay, so I've got a diagram that I've actually come up with, and it depicts what we're actually trying to achieve here. So we've got two routers in two different locations. One is called MIKROTIK JOBURG, and the other is MIKROTIK CAPETOWN. So on the JOBURG side, the WAN address is 192.168.56.100. The LAN address is 192.168.10.1, and the tunnel address is 172.16.16.1. And then on the CAPETOWN side, the WAN address is 192.168.56.200. The LAN address is 192.168.20.1, and the tunnel address is 172.16.16.2. So basically, what we're actually trying to achieve is we want to be able to reach the LAN address on the CAPETOWN side from the JOBURG side, and the LAN address of the JOBURG side from the CAPETOWN side, such that devices on both ends should be able to see each other as if they're on the same network through that GRE tunnel. Okay, so I've got VirtualBox still open, and we're actually first going to configure the JOBURG router. So right click on the router and then click on Start, normal start. So this will actually start up the router, and then we should then be able to configure it. So whilst it's starting up, I'm also going to open up Winbox. So right click on Winbox and then click on Open with Wine. So if you're actually using Windows, Windows actually has native support for Winbox. But if you're using something like a Mac, then you're going to have to find a software like Crossover or Wine for you to be able to run Winbox on a Mac. So we're just waiting for the system to load up, and then once it loads up, we should then be able to start the configuration process. Okay, so the system is now running, and to log in, you just specify admin, and the password is blank. Okay, so just when the cloud host router first installed, it will actually ask you if you want to see the software license. But in this case, we don't want to do that, so I'm just going to say no, and then proceed to the next step. So I'm going to check what IP addresses have been assigned to this router by running the command IP address print. So that will actually run a check to see what addresses have been assigned, and you can see we've got this 56.109 address. So to remove that address from the Ether1 interface, you just run the command IP address remove 0. So if you run another IP address print, you will see there is no IP address that is now configured. So to set a new IP address, you just run the command IP address add address equal to 192.168.56.100. Then it's going to be a /24 address, and the interface is going to be Ether1. So if you now run another IP address print, you'll now see that the Ether1 interface is a 56.100 address. So if you go back to Winbox, we should now see the router, the new cloud hosted router, and on the address field, you should see the 56.100 address that you've just assigned. So click on connect, and you should be able to actually log into the router. And then once you've actually logged in, click on quick set the address acquisition to static. And then I'm going to set the gateway to 192.168.56.1. Then on the DNS servers, that's going to be 8.8.8.8. Then on the IP address, that's going to be 192.168.10.1. It's going to be a /24 address, and then you need to click on bridge all LAN ports, TCP server, and NAT. And then on the server range, that's going to be 192.168.56.10 all the way up to 192.168.56.100. So you then need to click on apply and then click on OK. So I'm just going to close out of Winbox, and then I'm going to open it up again just to check if our changes have been applied. So it's actually opening up Winbox again. Let me just do an IP address print from the virtual machine. Sorry about that. IP address and then print. Okay, so you now see we've got that 10.1 address on the bridge interface. Let me just reconnect to the router once again. Okay, and then I'm just going to check quick set, and let me just check the DHCP server there. Okay, so we're going to name this router MIKROTIK JOBURG so that we'll be able to identify it when we're now running our tests. Okay, so it's going to be MIKROTIK JOBURG. JOBURG is actually a city in South Africa, mind you. Okay, so this is the MIKROTIK JOBURG router, and then we've actually completed its configuration. So I'm just going to leave it running, and then we're then going to proceed to the CAPETOWN router. So right click on the router and then click on start, normal start. So this will actually start up the router, and we're actually going to repeat the same process on the CAPETOWN side, but whilst configuring the right details for the CAPETOWN side. So whilst the cloud host router is starting up, I'm just going to also open up Winbox again, and then we're just going to wait for it to load up, and then once it's loaded, we're then going to actually configure it. Okay, so currently we can just see the one router that's already configured, which is the JOBURG router, as you can see. And then we're then going to configure the CAPETOWN side. Okay, so the router is now running, and then I'm just going to log into the router real quick. And remember, the password is also blank. So again, we're going to check the IP address by running the command IP address print, and then that will actually show us the IP address that it actually has. So to remove that address, again, you run the command IP address remove 0. So that will actually remove that IP address, and then I'm just going to check if that actually worked, and as you can see, we don't have that address. So to set a new address, I'm just going to check the diagram once more. You can see the Cape Town side is supposed to have a one address of 192.168.56.200. So come back to the router, and then I'm then going to set the address IP address add address equal to 192.168.56.200. It's going to be a /24 address, and then I'm going to allocate or to assign this address to the Ether1 interface. Sorry about that, so it's supposed to be Ether1. Okay, so if you now run another IP address print, we should now see the 56.200 address. If you go back to Winbox, and then if you refresh Winbox, you will now see we've got the MIKROTIK JOBURG router down below, and then just above it we've got the 56.200 address, which is the Cape Town router. So just double click on the IP address and then click on connect. Then click on quick set, and then we're going to quickly complete the configuration. So set the address acquisition to static, and then you need to set the gateway to 192.168.56.1. Then the DNS servers, we're just going to set it to 8.8.8.8. Then on the local network, I'm just going to check the Cape Town side on the diagram. It's supposed to be 20.1. So you just come back to the IP address on the local network section, and then you set it to 192.168.20.1. Then click on bridge all LAN ports, DHCP server, and NAT. And then we're going to set our DHCP server range to 192.168.20.10 all the way up to 192.168.20.100. Okay, and then we're going to then give this router the identity of MIKROTIK Cape Town. Then click on apply, and then click on OK. I'm just going to check quick set once more, just to make sure that everything is what it should be, and I think we are actually good to go now. Okay, so we've actually configured the second router, and then just to test, we're going to test if we can actually reach the LAN address of the Cape Town side, of the JOBURG side from the Cape Town router. So I'm just going to ping 192.168.10.1, and as you can see, it's actually timing out. And then I'm actually going to check the JOBURG side actually. Let me just reopen Winbox. And then I'm going to connect to the JOBURG router and test connectivity to the Cape Town side. So it's actually opening Winbox now. Okay, so I'm just going to connect to the JOBURG router. Okay, so I've actually connected, and then you can just open up the terminal by clicking on the terminal link or the terminal option. And then I'm just going to check and confirm the IP addresses by running the command IP address print. And then you can see the LAN address on this side is the 10.1 address. So I'm just going to ping 192.168.20.1, and as you can see, it's actually timing out. So it means that we can't actually connect out to the Cape Town side. So in the next step, I'm actually then going to show you how to configure the GRE tunnel. The last and final step is to configure the actual GRE tunnel. So to configure the tunnel, click on Interfaces and then click on the GRE tunnel tab. Then we're going to add a new tunnel. Then I'm actually going to call this tunnel, let me just call it intercity tunnel. I'm just going to call it intercity tunnel. And then on the local address section, I'm then going to input the one address of the JOBURG router, which is 192.168.56.100. And then on the remote address, I'm actually going to input the one address of the CAPETOWN router, which is 192.168.56.200. And then on the IPsec secret section, this is where we can actually configure a secret for the tunnel. And then I'm just going to type in a password. And then you need to make sure you uncheck allow fast path. And then you then need to click on apply and then click on OK. So we've actually created a tunnel, and then the next thing to do is to go to IP addresses. So we're actually going to add the tunnel addresses for this GRI interface. So click on add, and then on the IP address we're actually going to configure, if you check on the diagram, 172.16.16.1. So if you go back to Winbox, it's actually going to be 172.16.16.1, and then it's going to be a /30 address. And then I'm then going to select the tunnel interface and then click on apply. Then click on OK. So we've actually created the tunnel, and then the last part is to then create a route. So I'm actually going to add a route real quick. Okay. So click on add, and then we're actually on the JOBURG side, and we want to connect to the CAPETOWN side. So the CAPETOWN side, the LAN address is 192. Let me actually maximize this window. Okay, .168.20.0/24, and then the gateway, we're then going to select the intercity tunnel. Then click on apply, and then click on OK. Okay, so we've actually quickly configured the tunnel on the JOBURG side, and then I'm actually then going to quickly connect to the CAPETOWN side and to also configure the same tunnel. So I'm actually going to reopen Winbox, and then we're actually going to connect to the CAPETOWN router. Okay, so Winbox is actually opening up now. It should actually open within about a minute or so. I'm actually just waiting for it to open so that we can actually complete the config. Okay, so Winbox is actually opened up, and then we're going to select the CAPETOWN router and then click on connect. Okay, so we've connected to the CAPETOWN side, and then click on interfaces, and then click on the GRI tunnel tab, and then click on the plus button at the top. We're also going to name this interface intercity tunnel, and then the local address in this case is going to be 192.168.56.200, which is actually the one address of the CAPETOWN router. And then the remote address is going to be the one address for the JOBURG side. So it's going to be 192.168.56.100. Then I'm then going to type in the same IPsec secret, and then you need to untick allow fast path. Then click on apply, and then click on OK. Okay, so we should now see the status of the tunnel to change to running. And then the next thing that we're actually going to do is to set an IP address for the tunnel. So to do that, click on IP and then click on addresses. Then click on the plus sign at the top of the window. Okay, so click on okay, so this is actually the correct window that I actually want. So on the CAPETOWN side, the address is supposed to be 172.16.16.2. Okay, so I'm just going to set it to 172.16.16.2, and it's a /30 address. and the interface is going to be the tunnel interface, and then click on OK. Then the last thing is to set a route. So click on IP routes and then click on the add button at the top of the page. Okay, so the destination address is going to be 192.168.10.0/24, and the gateway is going to be the tunnel interface, and then click on apply. I'm just going to run the command IP address print just to check the addresses, and then I'm going to try to ping the tunnel address on the JOBURG side. So ping 172.16.16.1, and there you have it. I can actually ping the tunnel address of the JOBURG router. And then I'm going to quickly bail out of that ping. Then I'm going to also try to ping the LAN address on the JOBURG side, which is 192.168.10.1. And there you have it. We actually have connectivity to the 10.1 address on the JOBURG side. So let me just also test the JOBURG side. So I'll just log out of the CAPETOWN side, and then I'm going to log into the JOBURG side. Then click on connect. Okay, so I've connected to the JOBURG side, and then I'm going to open up a terminal, and then I'm going to run the command IP address print. Okay, so these are the IP addresses that this router currently has, and then we're first going to try to ping the tunnel address of the CAPETOWN side. So it's going to be ping 172.16.16.2. And there you have it. We can actually reach the tunnel address of the CAPETOWN side through the VPN GRE tunnel. I'm going to bail out of that ping. And then I'm then going to also ping the LAN address of the CAPETOWN side. So it's going to be 192.168.20.1. Okay, so as you can see, I can actually ping the LAN address of the CAPETOWN side. So basically, we actually have a GRE tunnel up and running, and you can actually complete the exact same setup in a production environment, though I do recommend that you configure a bit more security rules within the MIKROTIK file that are available on my website, which is buildsoftacademy.com. You can also get a link to this video tutorial. You can actually read through the it's actually an article that I actually posted on my website that you can also go through. The link is also there in the video description. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel. It will actually help the channel to grow, and I'd really appreciate if you were to subscribe. Actually, we've got a promotion that's actually running, so if you subscribe to the channel, you actually get a chance to win an Amazon gift card that is actually worth $20. So if you subscribe to the channel, you can actually win a gift card worth $20. And we'll announce the winner when we actually hit 100 subscribers. Okay, so there you have it, folks. I hope this tutorial has been informative, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.